Wise men say only fools rush in. Have you ever been in love? Let's find out. Hi, welcome to the channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Langers and I am the Scruffy Trader. What I'm trying to do is kind of put trading in the real world. Maybe show you a trick or two along the way. That sounds good? Click the little subscribe button. Genuinely helps. And we'll crack on. So what am I singing about and what on earth am I banging on about with love? Well, love is quite a powerful emotion. I mean, most of the time in your younger years, you are out on a Saturday night looking for love. You know, well, at least looking for love on a Saturday night. Quick fix, if you like. You know, but is it the one? You know, I searched an eternity for.
Well, hello. Ding dong.
But that's just a fantasy. You know, and I've certainly had the odd Saturday night where I've been looking through the old beer goggles. But these are lessons that taught me how to be patient in this world. Because good things do come to those who wait. And later in life, I found my soulmate. And you see her running around this place all the time, Winky. She is my best friend. And we're almost joined at the hip, and there's not one day goes by that I ever regret the decision to marry. Not one.
Splendid girl, and so helpful. Do you know she's been showing me how to stick the pole up?
You know. So that's in for the long haul. But it is the right one. If I started with the beer goggles, I might have had a life of misery and hardship and oh my God, what have I done? And I know you're now scratching your head thinking, hold on, what on earth is going on here? What has that got to do with trading?
Well, we're waiting.
Well, it actually has everything to do with trading. You see, when you're starting your trading career, you are looking for the one. But it's the Saturday night one, the beer goggles. Because you haven't experienced the world of trading just yet. So you make silly decisions. You'll rush in where fools won't. Hence the song at the start. That Elvis Presley song, you know, where fools rush in. One of my mother's favourites. I had it on and playing this morning. And it is apt, because fools will rush in and they'll fall in love when they shouldn't. And that's what today's subject is really all about. Because I'm pretty certain, as a newer trader, even older traders for that matter, because we all do this, sometimes fall in love with a trade that you shouldn't. And there's certain elements that you need to be able to recognize and control. Because if you can't control those emotions or recognize what you're doing, you're going to find that this love is very destructive and very damaging. And that's what happens when you're just looking with beer goggles. So, let me grab my coffee, because we all know Scruffy loves a coffee. I was going to say he likes a coffee, but he loves one today, because the subject is love. So, what am I banging on about? See if this one rings true. You have seen a setup. It's a good setup, and you've taken it. However, it's moved against you. And you're scratching your head thinking, but this has to be right. everything that I have in place says this is right, but it's moving against me. Well, sometimes love just doesn't work. You have to find it the second time round. There's nothing wrong with that, but you need to learn when to kill it. That's why your stops are incredibly important. And it doesn't matter whether your stop is 100 pips away or 10 pips away. It really doesn't matter. But once that stop is in place, it must stay there. Okay? And I'm going to just highlight a couple of bullet points just to jog your memory. And it's the whole idea of this video. It's not really to teach you anything. It's more an observation. And hopefully that observation will ring true and you'll be able to add something into your business plan. And I do implore that you have a business plan so that when things do go wrong, it can get you out.
Isn't that logical?
So talking with a plan, that is kind of the first thing as to why it goes wrong in the first place. You haven't got one. You're just jumping in where fools fear to tread. You've rushed in. So if you don't have a plan, you're going to let that trade run and run and run till it blows your account out. And that's exactly what will happen. And that's coupled with the second part of it. Because you've gone into it and you're in love with it, you have false hope. And the false hope is incredibly dangerous. It's more dangerous than having no plan. You see, you can take your trade with no plan, get it right, and you think, yeah, great, brilliant. It's really a gamble, a bit of a punt. But if you go into it with false hope and it returns because you've looked at it and it's gone 50 pips past where you thought you might be getting out, but then it turned round and came back and got you out, you'll be like, got away with that. But it's teaching you a terrible lesson. And that lesson is false hope. Because you now believe all you have to do is hang on. Well, what if you're in a mega trending environment and this trend is going to run for weeks? It'll just blow your account. There has to be a time when you say no. So false hope is an absolute nightmare. And it leads on to a couple of characteristics, what happens when you have false hope. And it goes back to my stop little chat earlier. Because once you've put your stop in, and it doesn't matter what the stop is, as long as it's part of your plan, you must stick to it. It is set in stone. You cannot move it. What you do, you think, well, it's gone 50 pips past. I'll give it 25 pips more. So you move your stop up. That is so wrong. Again, it's teaching you a bad habit. Your stop is there to protect you. It might hurt you, but it'll not kill you. And that's the difference. You see, one trade should be able to make you, but one trade should never destroy you. And that's what your stops are for. You know, I do have a wide stop, but my plan is staging in. So the risk reduces as each extra position goes in. And each one of those positions is built up from a single position. So it's actually quite a small risk. You'll see some videos on that. But that's how I manage stops, because I don't think tight stops work. But on the same side, wide stops don't work either unless they're controlled, and that's how I control them. I stage into the trade. But I never move my stop. It only tightens, it never increases. Sometimes you'll see me open a trade without a stop, and they'll go, oh, well, you haven't got a stop there. No, that's just on the initial stages. I just open up the trade and then I've got time to place my stop. I can see where I'm going to put it. I analyse the chart, I look for 2 structure points, place my stop. That's it. It doesn't move. It only tightens thereafter. Okay? So please do not move your stop. Once it's in, it stays there. And the last part of it is the love part. Because you're thinking with your heart. The big heart. No, you need to think with your head. Sometimes you just know it's wrong. You look at it, all of the planets aligned. You think the world is wonderful. It was the right thing to do. But in trading, just because it's right, doesn't mean to say it's going to be successful. Trading is very cruel at times, as is love. You can fall in love with the most beautiful person on the planet and find out that underneath all the beauty and glitz, they are an utter nightmare. So, what do? You must learn to cut your trade, but you don't. You hang on with blind belief, false hope, that's going to be okay. And it just keeps on going and going and going because you refuse to cut it. But if you did cut it, then you find your soulmate. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Because you've saved yourself a lot of pain, a lot of anguish. And yes, you've got some wounds to lick. You might have some baggage. But the next trade that comes along could be the one. Your one. And that one will make you. Whereas the trade you wouldn't let go would destroy you. But the moral of the story, listen to Elvis. The man was a great philosopher. No, seriously. If your trade is going wrong, let it. Just cut it. Cut it dead. Walk away. Have a coffee if that's what floats your boat. And the next one could well be the making of you. That's the only way you can think. Fall in love with the right trade. Hope all that kind of makes sense. Anyway, it's just a couple of comments and questions that I've seen across last week. And it kind of rang true about holding on too long to something that is going to be damaging. Nothing wrong with having a wide stop. Not a lover of tight stops, but I understand why people use them. But always cut them. If it is wrong, get rid. Period. So have yourself a good time, boys and girls. Find the one you love. And as always, do what you love. And the money will follow. See you all in the next one.